Welcome to this YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at named ranges. What are named ranges? Why should we bother knowing about the named ranges? How do we create the named ranges? How do we edit them? How do we delete them? And what is the overall purpose for the named ranges? How do we access them from a different sheet? And how do we also access them from a different workbook? So that's what we're going to look at. First of all, the named range, as the word says, is a range that has a name. For example, I can give this one a name. Okay, now it can be a cell like this one. Maybe if I put 56 there, and then I go right here and I say price. Hit enter. Now the name of, if I come here and type price, you can see it appears there. And if I click there, it takes me to 50. If I'm on another sheet, I can also access that price. If I type price, you can see it appears right there. And I can select it, hit enter, and the 56 comes here. And if I'm on a different sheet still, I can type price, hit enter, it shifts me and goes directly to the cell which has the value and the name price. Now, it can be a single cell or it can be a range of cells. So to demonstrate that, I can give this range here a name, and my name is product. I can say product. So the range of these cells from A4 to A10 are named product. If I come here and say product, it highlights this range here. Now, that's how we can name the range name. We can also name it differently using going to data. For example, if I want to name this one quantity, I can go to data, named range, I give it a name as quantity, it has specified the range, and then I say OK. Now you can also see that the other two that I named earlier, they are also right here. Then I can also go to this price, data, go down to named range and name it price. Do that. It is complaining because there's already another item that is named price. This is another thing that you need to be aware of. It does not allow spaces, does not allow similar names. If there is another name that has, if there's another named range with the same name, it will give you this error here. So maybe I can go to the other one, the original one I put. I say market price. You don't leave spaces. Say OK. Now I come back to this one I want to name. I add a range. I call it prices. Then there you go. Then it allows it in there. Now, one of the advantages of named ranges makes the computations quite easy. For example, I can say this range here is a range which I named quantity. And when you type it over there, you see it appear here, and then you say quantity multiplied by this range here I called price. When you do that, hit enter, you can see we get our computation right? All my named ranges are limited to row 10. Another thing I want to show you is that I can adjust this row 10 to go up to the end. So to do that, to products, if I highlight here, you can see it highlights this, showing me that is the range it refers to. So I want it to run up to the end so that when I add more products here, I don't have to come and adjust my range here. So if you want it to run up to the end, you remove the end reference, then you hit enter, then you'll see that it runs up to row 1000. You could also do the same for the rest so that when I add more data, it runs to the very end. There you go. So if you don't want a limitation on the limit, now for example here it goes up to A1000, so I remove the end limit to stay up to A1000. When I add more rows at the end, I'll have to come and adjust this. But if you don't want to do that, even after adding rows, then you remove the references of the column and then you say the whole column is C, like I've done here. So that is how you can edit the named range. Now, the other thing I want to show you is if at all I'm not interested in a named range and I just want to delete it, I can also do the same, go to data, and where is my market price is quite here. I can delete it from there. And are you sure you want to remove this range? I say yes, then it will go away. So we have seen how we can create the named range, how we can modify it, and how we can delete it. Let's see how we can access the named range and do our computations from a different sheet. For example, now I want the total of the quantity. So what I do, I just do sum. I know the name of my named range is quantity. I type quantity. As I type, you see quantity appears here. Can even select it and hit enter. Now, one of the advantages, it simplifies the computation. If I didn't have the named range, what I would have done would see sum, then come to sheet 1, select that range and hit enter. So it simplifies this computation. You see sheet 1, semicolon. If you miss something there, you are in trouble. Now, total sales, again, simplifies the computation. All I have to do is know the name of the cell. It will be this one here. And I have also not named it. It is good practice to name it. So I'll name it here and say total sales, like so, and hit enter. And when I go to another sheet, I can access it. I want the total of those cells. I type total, I get a highlight here, pick it, press enter, and there you go. So the named range simplifies the computation and it also makes it easy to access it from a different sheet. You can not only access it from a different sheet, but you can also access it from a different workbook. Now, if I'm trying to access it from a different workbook, all I have to do, I have to use that function called import range. Then it needs the URL of the sheet from where I'm going to access my named range. So the URL is what is up here. You can use the URL or the ID. And the ID of the sheet is after D stroke and goes up to the word edit. So in your import function, put it in quotes, like so, put a comma, and the next thing is the named range. For example, I may want to access product. So I have to know the name of it is product here. So I need to come here and in quotes, I put product, like so. I close my bracket, press enter. It's going to load. And when you're doing it for the first time, it will ask you for permissions to allow access. Hit on allow access, and there you go, you have your products. So as simple as that, you can get access your data from a different sheet. Example here, I can also say prices or quantity. I hit enter and my quantities appear. I can also say my prices. Just copy this, paste here, then change this to prices. Price, it loads, it finds an error. Here I have the word prices. That's why it is giving me error. Change this one to prices. And there you go. You're going to get your prices. And you remember that for the prices, I highlighted the entire column. That's why it is showing me values and leaving 2 spaces above. So, and this is how you can use named ranges in Google Sheets. I've shown you how to access them from a different workbook, from a different sheet, and how it simplifies your work when you're doing computations. I hope this has been helpful. And if so, please subscribe if you have not. Give me your comments. If you have a challenge, share with me, and I'll look at the challenge and see what I can do. Otherwise, thank you for watching and have a great day, and see you in the next video.